This is a Hot Pie Media original.
This podcast is brought to you guys by BetterHelp.com. Is there something interfering with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? Well, BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online. There is a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas. The service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist, and you'll get a timely, thoughtful response. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you don't ever have to go into that uncomfortable waiting room as you do with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change therapists if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living happier today. Visit betterhelp.com/gray. That's betterhelp.com/gray and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional therapists in all 50 states. Special offer for all gray area listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/gray, GRAY. We do the shows. They take us to the after party at what we very quickly discerned was a vampire bar.
Absolutely. All red.
Like, no mirrors, very gothic look to it. I remember there being like chandelier, and it was
lace.
Yes. And the guy comes up and he's talking to us. And I think we all had the thought like this dude is mad questionable, but you're the one, like, I remember when the words came out your mouth, I was like, oh shit, we're about to get kicked out. But you just kind of smiled at the guy and you were like, you're a familiar, ain't you? And he's like, excuse me? He goes, don't lie to me. You're a familiar. He's like, a familiar? Let me see your lip. Let me see your lip. Pull your lip down. And I was like, oh shit, we're about to get kicked out of this fucking bar. Like,
Media. Stupid dumb beat made by G-Bro.
Welcome to the gray area. Here's your host, Aaron Cheatham.
all right, guys, joining us this week on the podcast, comedian extraordinaire out of San Antonio. I would say he's one of my best friends, but that's not true. He's like a brother to me. I love this guy sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Larry Garza, jumping on the Gray Area podcast. He's got a roast on December 29th. If you're watching this as it drops tonight, December 29th, Larry Garza, LOL Comedy Club, San Antonio, Texas. Larry, how you doing, brother?
I'm great. I just found out a few minutes ago that the roast sold out.
No shit.
It sold out. So we are going to be streaming it. So for people who want to participate, go to Comedia Agogo's YouTube or Facebook page, and it's going to be December 29th at 8 p.m. You can log on early and stream it for free. And all we're asking is to make donations to my Venmo at Larry Garza or my Cash App, $Larry Garza Comedy, or however you'd like to pay. And if you want the GoFundMe information, just message me at Larry Garza Comedy on Instagram.
And find a way to watch it if it's streaming. It's going to be streaming. So watch it. Since you can't get tickets anymore, make sure you guys check it out. Follow Larry Garza. You will find all the info. I am very sad that I'm not going to be able to make it. I will be.
I'm very sad that you're not going to be able to be on the dais.
Yeah, I'm very upset about that. But it's really hard to roast you anyways. Don't worry, I am working on a video. I will say this, though. I will say this, and this is something that I would say at the roast. When I was recording my album, do you remember what you did before the second show?
I whispered something in your ear.
You did whisper something in my ear.
Yes.
Do you remember what you whispered in my ear?
Remind me.
So I'll set the scene for you guys.
I know it was a dick thing.
It was. So it was 2 shows. We had just finished the first show, and the second show's going. In fact, Jay White Cotton is on stage, and he's getting ready to bring me up. And as he's introducing me, Larry, not my best friend, but my brother, is standing next to me. And to be honest with you, I didn't expect you to be there that night because you've been dealing with your health stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't expect to see
sick,
you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you showed up there meant the world to me, right? And then, right as Jay, like literally Jay is, this next guy is the guy you guys came to see recording the album. I want you guys to make some noise. And just as he said that, you shook my hand, you brought me in and gave me a big hug. And in my ear, you whispered, "I'm still better than you." and as you said that, Jay goes, "Aaron Cheatham," and I was like, I couldn't even respond. I was like, and I walked on stage, and I watched the video, and the first like 15 seconds of me being up there, I'm very perplexed. I have this look on my face like, motherfucker.
Well, I didn't want to do it before the first show for sure, because I wanted you to get that, get the nerves out. That's what the first show's for. Second show is so you can be more relaxed and be more yourself. So I wanted to piss you off in a Jordan kind of way.
Oh, that was
and get you on your A game, because you're not better than me. Oh no, I said that wrong. I'm not better than you. It was just something just to hype you up.
Yeah. Congratulations. Because like I couldn't,
and it came out well from what I understand. The second show you murdered.
Yeah, it was good. And I went into it with a little bit more anger. Then I was leaning into shit a little bit harder. Like, motherfucker, you gonna tell me? So, but for the record though, I still have both my kidneys, so I'm better than you.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to meet your grandkids. So
yeah, lucky me. And I'm going to meet your grandkids too.
Yeah, you are. You look better.
So that's,
can we cuss on the
absolutely.
Podcast? Okay.
Yeah. So that was my headlining roast joke. That's all. That was my closer. That was the closer.
I was so excited when you asked me to do the podcast, because you and I have so many stories. You and I have more stories than anybody that I worked with, period. Like if I have the opportunity to take somebody with me anywhere, you're always my first choice, because I know for some strange reason, whatever God has intended for you and I, it's always interesting, because you do such odd things, like that Selena cup. I do odd things. You do the oddest things. Are you kidding me? And they're not odd in the they're subtly odd. Like I said, that Selena cup you got in front of you. I remember I was headlining a show in Corpus Christi at Gators, and you just left. You weren't even smoking. Like before, you would leave to go get cigarettes. That's right. Sometimes because Aaron would Batman. He would just Batman all the time, where you're just like, where the fuck did Aaron go? And he'd come back with a pack of smokes and a tuna sandwich or whatever. But I remember this time in Dallas, it was me and Amber, my merch girl, and you Batmaned, and we're like, we didn't know where Aaron went, and then all of a sudden you come back and you're eating something from the gas station.
Chicken. It was fried chicken.
Yeah, it was fried chicken.
That's right. Fried chicken.
It was greasy ass fried chicken from a Stripes. And if no one knows what Stripes is, it's a gas station that has like Mexican food in it. It's
in South Texas. You can only find them like down in South Texas.
Yeah. And you got 3 collectible Selena mugs and a regular something to drink.
Yeah, I didn't want to ruin my cups day one.
Yeah, they were like the still in the
plastic
in the wrap. Yeah,
I think I took one of them up on the stage with me that night. I think I took one of them.
You sure did. You.
I had to pander to the crowd. We were in Corpus. I had to pander a little bit.
They went ape shit. It was hard to follow you that night. Like you were you didn't give a fuck. I think you took the fried chicken too, if I'm not mistaken.
That would not surprise me. Maybe I do some things that are. I said do. I do things that are a little weird, slightly subtly.
I wouldn't call them weird. They're odd and eccentric, and I love it because it just makes me laugh. It's just like I can say in a sentence. If someone was to come up to me, where did Aaron go? Oh, he ran to get some Selena cups and fried chicken right quick. Like,
and it actually makes sense. Anybody that knows me would be like, okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, yeah, got you. Yeah. Right.
Yes, we've had tons of stories. It's funny because I had Bobby on, and so
Bobby Smith. Oh man, come on!
You better leave Sean Elliott alone. That's Sean Elliott with Avery Johnson's voice.
Oh, he don't have Avery Johnson's voice. It's like a mix of Kermit and Bootsy Collins.
Oh, I wanna be with you. Who?
Yeah, that's all like no. Cameo, Kermit and Cameo.
Okay.
When you do a Bobby, it's like
it's got a little bit of Cleveland in it.
A little bit of Cleveland, little balloons on the mailbox is a universal symbol for party over here. Anyway, I'm just playing, y'all. It's Bobby Smith. Yeah, I can do Bobby all day.
Yes, I had him on, and he brought up a story about he's like, I heard you do wild stuff. You and Larry be doing wild stuff on the road, like y'all stopped at some abandoned school or something.
Damn right.
And I kind of told the story a little bit, but yeah, we've had. So the very first time that either of us got paid to perform out of town was together, and that was in Corpus Christi at Oasis. Mm-hmm. And then of course there's the legendary stories of the Sugar Shack that happened at night,
and the legendary stories of the Houston,
the Houston
fiasco.
Like we have stories from what I'm saying is from
the vampires in the
vampires
valley.
No, that was in Houston.
The vampires are in the valley.
No, it was in Houston.
Because
they had Isaac's house too. Yes, they were in the valley and in Houston.
Oh, you're right. Because we were at that Blade party.
Yes, and where you asked the guy if he was a familiar and you wanted to see his lip. You're like, let me see your lip. That's a real. So
I forgot all about the vampires in Houston.
Yes, so like we have our entire careers, if you will. We've been together. We've traveled together, yes. And we've got massive stories because we've always been tight. You know, going back to Comedia Go-Go. So it wasn't like you and I were strangers. We were already brothers when we hit the road. And when you, I, and Regan, or you and Regan and me would hit the road, like every single time we went anywhere, we always came back with something because we lived it to the utmost. And that Houston thing, I thought we were going to die for sure in that bar. And I'll tell the story for them.
Yeah, please do. But one thing I want to preface is when you hear, I heard y'all did some wild shit, or I heard it was crazy, and man, it was. I want to preface it with, we don't drink and we don't do drugs. I mean, I think we do worse stuff now, and it's boring versus back then because we didn't do anything but try to get free food.
That's really what it was all about, was trying to get some free shit on the low. Yeah.
Yeah. That really was what it, and making sure we got paid. Mm-hmm. And so before you tell your stories, I just want to let the listeners know, you're not going to hear, oh man, we got so drunk that blankety blank, or we got high and then ended up in the, no, we were all stone cold sober.
I might have gotten high.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. You being high has nothing to do with what we did.
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
And to be honest, the high stuff, I didn't start getting high until probably later on. But the early days, it was
all
a lot
these
of
stories. You were sober.
That's the crazy thing, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to Houston. Our first time performing in Houston at the Main Street Improv. And we were booked.
Good memory, man.
It's crazy how this works. We were booked by Carlos Silva Dollar Productions.
Yeah, Carlos Silva. Put that name out
there. He booked us for 2 shows that night. We had 2 shows that night. And it was
me and Regan were supposed to feature for Chris Mata.
And Tommy Munoz was on the show. And
who
myself.
was also double booked as a feature for Chris Mata. Mm-hmm. And you were gonna open.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we do that. We get to town early, which is one of my favorite things about riding with you and Regan, is we always got to towns hours ahead of the show. Now with me myself, I probably get there 30 minutes before
Right
the
on
show.
time.
But this is also
we get
like
there hours early so we could have dinner and
chill.
relax.
And you guys are very responsible. We get there early and we go to an Asian restaurant. And as we were going in, I remember looking around and there was all these weird symbols on buildings that we thought were glyphs. And so we're sitting there at this Asian restaurant eating pho or something. And it's like, we got chopsticks and shit. And we armed ourselves with chopsticks because we were slightly afraid of the potential of vampires being in Houston. Because we're seeing glyphs everywhere.
Yeah, and chopsticks are made of wood,
and we made crosses
real quick. Yeah, we made crosses.
I sharpened a couple off just in case they need to be used as stakes. We go do the show and the 2 shows, and they were actually really good. I remember them being good crowds and great shows, great reaction. And then he take us to an after party, which
but you're skipping the fact that again that they double booked the features, and Mata didn't at first want us to perform, so we ended up cutting our time dramatically just so all of us could do it, because we were told angrily that we would still get paid what was promised. And at the time, this was the most that any of us were getting paid. Now, I'm not saying Tommy and Chris Mata, but
for us,
me and Regan and you, it was like the highest pay we were going to get. And it was like $500 or something like that. But at the time, it might as well have been 500,000.
Yeah. For me, it was $100 for 2 shows. So it was like $200. So I was like, yo, that's the shit right there. So we, we had all that going on. We do the shows. They take us to after parties. And this is a thing that's not, the game has kind of changed. Because back when we were doing this in the early 2000s, like after parties after a comedy show were legit a thing. There was always.
Is it not a thing anymore?
Nah, not really. Not really.
Oh man, that's sad.
Not really. Sad. Like, nah, it depends. It varies, but it used to be every time we went on the road, the people throwing the show would take us out, to drink or.
We were required to go to places
a lot of times.
Like when you were talking about the Sugar Shack, like the person that owned the bar that we performed at owned another place, and they would tell the people at the venue we performed at, go to the other place because the comics are going to be there for the after party.
Yep.
That was usually,
Yep. Which they never paid us for the after party. Now that I think about it, we should have got paid for after parties.
But we got free drinks and stuff.
We did and we got food.
Because we didn't really drink, it wasn't like, it was like, okay, but if we did, you drank, so I'm sure it was fun for you, getting paid on top of
didn't
free
change
alcohol.
anything. Didn't change anything. I would have headbutted that chick in the stomach regardless.
No, I'm not saying it changed anything, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like we're throwing the money that we got paid back into the bar.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. So we do the shows. They take us to the after party at what we very quickly discerned was a vampire bar.
Absolutely. All red.
Like, no mirrors, very gothic look to it. I remember there being like chandelier, and it was
lace.
Yes. And the guy comes up and he's talking to us. And I think we all had the thought, like, this dude is mad questionable, but you're the one, like, I remember when the words came out your mouth, I was like, oh shit, we're about to get kicked out. But you just kind of smiled at the guy and you were like, you're a familiar, ain't you? And he's like, excuse me? He goes, don't lie to me. You're a familiar. He's like, a familiar? Let me see your lip. Let me see your lip. Pull your lip down. And I was like, oh shit, we're about to get kicked out of this fucking bar.
Well, Tommy, rest in peace, was a TABC agent. Like he taught Texas alcohol, something, like
alcohol, beer commission,
something like
alcohol and beverage commission.
Right. And so he was a person who gave licenses to bartenders, and we were there after 2 a.m. And so they were breaking the law. So Tommy, I remember, like, because we were waiting to get paid, and that Carlos guy took us to this other place to be like, well, let's go here and have a few drinks first.
Yeah.
And it was like 2:30 in the morning, and all of us were just like, well, what the fuck are we doing here? And then Tommy goes, I could shut this down if I wanted to. And then he flashes his TABC card to the bartender, tells him, like,
I didn't know this part.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And he told him that. And then Carlos was like, let's get out of here. And like, that's when we left. That's why we left.
Okay. And then we go and we drop off Chris at a very nice hotel.
We go to that Mexican restaurant.
There's a Mexican restaurant? I forgot this part.
Yeah, we go to, he was like, you guys hungry? And we're like, sure. And so then we go to this really shitty neighborhood and eat really shitty Mexican food and hand-drawn signs and stuff like that. The place used to be like, like a shoe store, like a Payless, but it was a fucking Mexican restaurant now. And Carlos ate menudo and we had like a couple tacos. Mata had a friend. Remember, I kept teasing. You don't remember?
I do.
Yeah. Mata had someone with him and we kept on calling her like my sister. Like we kept fucking with her. And Mata, it was the first time Mata had like experienced Comedia Go-Go, experienced us like hanging out.
Oh, he was done with us by the end of that day.
Yeah, no. He became a fan because we were fucking with that friend that he had brought and real bad, and he was cracking a blabby. You can believe it. And then after the Mexican restaurant, so Carlos Silva pays for our food and goes, all right. And I go, and this is like at 4 or 5 in the morning.
And we're still waiting to get to our hotels because he kept saying, I'm going to take y'all there after. I'm going to take you after. I'm going to take you after.
And so then we go to that one hotel, and that's when the Carlos drops the sand N-word bomb in the parking lot because he never booked hotels for us, and he was going to these really shitty motels that were, I guess, like $40 a pop, trying to get us all in. And he was he was telling us to hide in a car so he can get
say it was just one person
rate.
Yeah.
So we went to that one shitty motel,
called him a sand nigga, and then that was a no-go.
Yeah. And then we went to another one and they were able to get Mata and Tommy a room. And
well, no, he got them in a nice hotel. They were in nicer ones.
No, they were on a roadside motel.
Were they?
We had it was nicer than the one we ended up in, but they were in a roadside motel.
Well, compared to the one we were in, I thought they were in the Hilton.
Sure. I mean, yeah, arguably, but it wasn't a nice hotel. It was a shitty. I keep saying hotel. It was a motel.
Okay.
Off the highway, and the manager was outside. That's a bad sign. Like in one of those booths outside, when you pay for parking,
or like when you go to get gas and the doors are closed at night and you have to talk through the window. It was like that.
And it was an Indian man, and they were yelling at each other. And then Carlos calls him a sand N-word real loud in the middle of the parking lot. And every time he was paying with this big wad of cash. It is giant wad of cash. And so then we finally go to we go to a motel, no luck, and then another motel, and then the person in the same, the manager just had meth teeth. I had never seen real meth teeth before, but it was like baby teeth right here and on the bottom. It like just burned out, I guess, from the pipe. And she was in charge, and they were available. Oh, and the room was $25. I remember that. So it was a $25 motel, and we were exhausted at this point.
Yes.
And they only had one room with a king size bed, and it was me, you, and Regan. And this is before Regan lost weight. And so do you want me to continue the story?
We can't. The floor. I remember walking in and the floors were sticky. Like,
because Regan was like, you know what? I'll sleep on the floor. I don't mind. And then me and you were like, we're good. We'll sleep back to back. And we walk in. So Regan touches the carpet, and it's soaking wet. It's damp.
Yeah.
And smelled like cigarette smoke.
They looked like blood in the bathroom. It might have been rust on the wall, but it looked like blood on the walls in the bathroom.
Yep. And so we turn on Oh, and then we play paper, rock, scissors for who's going to sleep
in the
bitch.
middle. Yeah.
And I got bitch.
Yep.
Which was fine. And so then we turn on the TV with the remote control, and it's hardcore pornography.
Yep.
And I mean like impressively hardcore. Like I remember thinking like, I thought you can only get this on the internet, but apparently no. There was a channel for it at this motel.
Yeah, they probably filmed it at the motel.
Yeah, and so I remember we laughed. We tried to change it, and then the remote stopped working.
Yeah,
and at this point, off the remote.
We're all into bed, and it was ironically funny for a minute. Then it was like, okay, let's turn this off, and then we couldn't,
and it didn't work. And so then I go to turn off the. And then we go to change the channel. It doesn't work. We decide, okay, fuck it, we'll just turn it off. That doesn't work. So I go up to the TV itself to either change the channel or turn it off. And the buttons were blocked because it was bolted down. The television was bolted down. So then I go to unplug it, and the plug was had a thing had a thing on it to prevent people from stealing the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't turn off this hardcore porn that was also very loud.
Yeah. And so we just said fuck it and went to sleep. Nobody be weird.
Yeah, just and we were in our early 20s.
Yes.
So 3 early 20-year-old males all asleep or trying to sleep in a king size bed while aggressively hardcore porn played.
Yes, we've been through,
and that was like 4 or 5 in the morning, and that's not even the end of the story because
it's not, because we didn't get paid.
Yeah, because we got up the next day at like 9 a.m. and we only slept for like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so imagine, it's 9 a.m. You hear kids outside, and it's just it's still going on, and you're like, oh my God, stop, right? And he attempts to take us to breakfast. And so me being the aggressor, I was just like, you know what, dude, we're good if we could just get paid. Oh man, well, my daughter called me and she's having this problem with this and that. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry to hear that, man, but we need our money, so we could just go home. All right, I'll get you your money and I'll send it to you. And gave all these excuses.
Like he wanted us to meet him at like a restaurant or something.
Exactly.
And then we get there and he's like, I got bit by a brown recluse.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's right. He got bit by a spider and he had to go to the emergency room.
Right, and then it came back later on that the guy that my partner took the money, and I don't have it.
Yeah, and I wasn't who I like. That really thickened me. That really kind of. I'm glad that happened because I never let it happen again. Because there's been promoters where I'm like, oh, we can burn this. I'll burn a bridge for $100, man.
Yeah.
Like I've made comments like that. I'm like, oh, I won't work with you again. Give me my money. Fuck you, pay me.
Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, Goodfellas style. Like, pay me. Oh, this seems iffy. And I've had mad respect for a lot of the promoters that just pay up front, even when like the people coming in are, even when admission's low and stuff, and they still just like throw the money they agreed on, in your hand. Like,
perfect example like of that is me and you went down to Corpus once, and we got there, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to have the show. And you were like, cool, pay me and pay him. And they did.
Yep.
You're like, we drove down here. We could have been doing anything else. So pay us what you agreed. And I remember watching that going, oh shit, Larry got gangster. Like, he just had a motherfucker pay. You was like, no, pay me all my money. Like, you turned into, my bitch better have my money. Come rain, sleet, or snow.
No, man. Paulie from Goodfellas, man. Paulie from Goodfellas. They got fuck you, pay me.
Man, literally, we can sit here and go through tons of stories.
I recently told the story about you walking for cigarettes in the valley and almost getting and then getting a Uber ride by a serial killer. I got picked up and they thought I was a gay prostitute.
Bobby brought that story up, and
did he?
Yeah, he did. He brought that up. So I ended up telling the story. But yeah,
You're telling our stories, man. Those are our stories.
Well, you know what? Those stories are now urban legends in San Antonio right now. Like,
but there's lighter stories. Like, you remember when me and you stayed at that one hotel that they had like beer night, or like there was like a beer
was that in the Valley?
hour? It was in the Valley.
Yes, I do remember that.
And we would just go and take like 3 beers each and put them in our at our hotel
room?
fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had like a 12-pack.
Oh, I remember when I was really young and dumb. Do you remember me like trying to take blankets from hotels and shit?
Yes.
Pillows and towels and shit.
Because they didn't have any of our information.
And then D was like, "Hey man, what you doing? You got to take that shit."
I'm paying for that shit.
Yeah. No, tons of that.
All the peanut butter and toast and pancakes and continental breakfasts and
oh God, napkins full of gummy bears from Golden Corral.
I was gonna text you the other day because I was watching something about boxing, and Roy Jones Jr. came up, and all he does is remind me of when we played Knockout Kings in the hotel for hours. And that's the thing. It's like, you would bring your Xbox, and instead of us going to party, and instead of us, I don't know, trying to get laid or whatever comics do, we would just stay in the hotel playing Xbox and eating pizza.
Yeah, while Regan jumps on the bed screaming, "We eat like kids! We eat like kids!"
We would just have sleepovers. That's all they were. We would do shows, get paid, and then have sleepovers.
Yeah, it was the best. It was the best. So I think it's funny that like you just now are getting back into getting on stage again.
I don't know. That's I don't know if I'd go as far as to say that. I don't know. I just needed to again.
Right. But when you like you're doing the roast, as it says behind you, comedian with cancer. There you go. I remember when I found out, and to be honest with you, I don't think it registered with me when you were originally diagnosed with cancer. I don't think
in 2016.
Yeah, I don't think it registered the seriousness of the moment of what was happening.
Yeah.
And then you ended up having to take a step away. But before you took a step away to get better, you recorded your album, Big Mama,
God, and the Hazelite Monster.
There you go. And I remember being there, and you being, and that was when I recognized you had taken a step from just doing comedy to like really sharing yourself and opening yourself up and being vulnerable on stage. And that's one of your best qualities, is that you allow yourself to be vulnerable to the audience, which allows them to laugh at these things that are all very, very personal and very hard. You've definitely. I just did a event last week for the city of Austin. It was healing through laughter.
City of Austin.
No, they don't get that West Coast thing. Don't do that.
Okay.
Sorry. But talking about healing through laughter, and that is 100% something that I think describes what you've been doing. Like, using laughter as a healing mechanism for all of the trials and tribulations that you and your family have had to go through. What was that like? What was that? Mars Pizza? Is that where?
No, it was at the Bang Bang Bar.
The Bang Bang Bar. Okay. Yeah. What was that like being? I know what it was like for me watching it. That's the closest I've ever come to crying, watching comedy. But what was that like? Because you were getting ready to have surgery like the following week.
Yeah. It was rushed because my urologist had said, on like a Wednesday, we need to operate on a Thursday. And I said, my daughter's graduating on Friday. Can we push it back? And he's like, okay, we'll do it next Tuesday. And so it was necessity, the Bang Bang Bar is great. And I shout out to them and the girls from the band FEA, FEA. or co-owners of that bar who just let me have their venue on a Sunday evening. And, we packed the place, as much as we could. And shout out to the San Antonio film community for, coming out with, cameras and Scott Langford, Brian Ortiz, Hector Bojoroquez, Brant Bumpers, and then obviously the man, Jess Castro, for editing it and making it mine. And it was a necessity for me because I hadn't recorded professionally any of my material. And I had about an hour of bullshit, a solid 45 minutes, but like I had about an hour. And I, needed to record it. So everything was just quick, also shout out to Joel Settles and Nicolas Valdez and the Guadalupe Theater, because they supplied chairs. And these are people that in their own scenes and like Nicolas Valdez is the lead singer of a band called Los Nahualatos, and he's a really world-renowned poet and accordion player and Latino activist. And he's friggin' pulling chairs from the back of a truck and loading them for me. So, I definitely felt a lot of love, and everything was just go, 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 because we didn't have time and we didn't have the ability. Like I could have, gotten the Aztec Theater, and I could have, put time to trying to sell it out, but I didn't have that. Mm-hmm. I got what I could. And then we made shirts, and I was working on a shirt. And I think the problem with a lot of comics is they want the perfect shirt. They're trying to design it. But necessity is, the mother of invention. So I couldn't afford full color prints of my clown logo that I wanted. So out of necessity, again, shout out to Creative Works, my wife's cousin Leroy and his partner Carlos made a black and white version of my clown face, which has now been my logo, which is now the shirt that people want over the colored shirt mm-hmm. of the clown logo. They want the black and white one, but we made it out of necessity for that night. And so when I got on stage, I was tight, I was like, okay, these are my bits. This is what I do. I'm not going to worry about, cameras or anything like that. I'm just going to go. And so I'm going and I'm doing my material. Like if I was in, like if it wasn't a room full of people that absolutely loved me and were worried about me, I just was on autopilot doing it. And it felt a little scripted and it felt really tight. And so I said, fuck it, I'm going to take a timeout. Okay. And everyone's like, yeah. And I said, I have the shit out of cancer. And everyone started laughing. And I just talked to the crowd like they were my friends, because they were. And I was just like, I'm scared. I'm nervous. They said it didn't hit my brain. And I was like, oh, well, that explains a lot if I have brain cancer, but they said I didn't have any. So I guess I'm just a fucking asshole. Like I just made that up on the spot, and I got a big laugh. And I said, all right, let's do this over. And Jess, brilliantly left that in. And to your point, I think it gave it a lot of vulnerability, because I just had to alleviate the tension that was in the crowd. And then after that, everyone loosened up, and then the special became what it was, which is just, my, what I thought at the time was going to be my last and only recorded performance.
So after you, and I'm not trying to sound interviewy, but these are just questions that maybe I never asked. Yeah. when you went, after you had the surgeries and you got a little better, then it went to your brain, you had a little pebble up there, seizures and all that. I
was checking out.
Like I thought you were, but then you came back, right?
Yeah.
And
it was one of those things, like, you're like, all right, I'm checking out, and then nothing happened.
Right.
Thank God.
Thank God. You come back and then now you're doing like material about your experience. So now like you're talking about very scary moments, and you found a way to spin them in the funny things, you know, and make light of this very, very serious moment. And I kind of feel like you and I have that in common, where bad shit can happen and we're going to find a way for ourselves to make light of it.
What else can you do?
For real. And that's you lean into that shit more than just about anybody I know. Like that.
Well, I don't know, man. There's some sort of black cloud over me, and it's I can't sit here and think, oh, all this bad stuff happened to me. I just sit here and think, man, all this bad stuff almost happened to me. Because if you really think about it, yeah, I got cancer. Yeah, I got brain cancer and all that stuff. But none of it killed me. It didn't kill me. It just sucked.
Yeah.
It's really what it boils down to. It's just, it sucked. It was hard, but I'm still around. So nothing bad has happened to me. It's just been a sucky experience. It's just, like almost falling off a cliff, or almost like it's, all these close calls,
right?
Dodging bullets and stuff. I am not, I am completely grateful that it hasn't been worse. You know what I mean?
So, you've been on the inside of the machine, of the system, of the cancer industry, I guess. Like you've seen it from the inside out, like, from doctors to the business side of it, all of that. Like
big
what
money
are they're making mad bank, right?
Lots of money. Yeah.
There's stuff that you've gone through that people like I haven't had anybody like very close. Like I've had family members that I've lost to cancer, but like I wasn't there to experience like what the day-to-day was, or what it was like to have to go through that stuff. What are some of the difficulties that you've had to deal with, and some of the problems that you see within the system of healthcare with people with cancer?
Well, luckily I had a friend in Dallas. His name's Clint Worth, and he passed away a year or two ago from cancer. And he warned me about Texas Oncology. And so I'd like to give a big fuck you to Texas Oncology, because they were originally my doctor's office. I had a guy named Dr. Hasida. You can sit on that. And they were very obviously a for-profit company. And Chris Rock, said there's no money in the cures, money
in the comeback. Ain't no money in the cure.
Yeah, it's like a drug dealer. And so he had warned me, to make sure that everything was in network, make sure everything that you do is within your, your insurance, because he had to pay $75,000 for one bag of chemo.
What?
And and so he fought that for a very long time. And so what the people don't realize is that cancer isn't like, every cancer is different. And so people, automatically assume if you have cancer, you're going to have chemo, you're going to go bald. And no, that is if you have a certain type of cancer. And I don't know what type of cancer it is. The word cancer is like the word food. It's that broad. And that's one thing that I like to educate people on, because with kidney cancer, for example, you don't get chemo. With kidney cancer, you have surgeries, you have things removed. And if you have a metastasis, meaning that you have cancer in different organs, then you're eligible for what's called immunotherapy, which isn't chemotherapy. And kidney cancer caught early enough responds very well to immunotherapy. But what they don't tell you is that immunotherapy could potentially do harm to your heart. And that's what I'm dealing with now. I'm dealing with slight heart failure due to immunotherapy that I took a year ago. So I'm being, kind of closely monitored as far as my heart is concerned. because of the immunotherapy. And you don't really feel anything from the immunotherapy with the exception of appetite loss. And you also get a lot of witch doctors, and I'll get into that in a second. But what had happened with with Dr. Hasida was he was trying to get me on a chemo medication very early on, and my urologist, the one who was doing the surgeon, who was a urology oncologist, when I told him about it, he said, "You don't, kidney cancer doesn't respond to chemo." So he on the spot calls Dr. Hasida and is like, "What are you talking about?" And, but with respect, like, "Hello, doctor," and "Yes, sir," and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "Okay, yeah, it was a trial. It was a trial, like an experimental drug." But he didn't tell me that. He was giving it to me like it was
the thing to do.
Prescription.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't know what was what. So my next appointment, I'm with him, and I'm just like, "What was that about?" And he was like, "Well, it might, I could have gotten a fucking placebo, Aaron. I could have been untreated, and he wouldn't have told me that." And I said, "Well, why didn't you tell me that?" And then he starts yelling at me. He starts going, "Well, are you a doctor? Do you know better than I do?" And I'm like, "Whoa, where the fuck is this coming from?" And I said that too. So then, because my urologist was with University of Texas, or with University Health System, I got my oncologist, Dr. Sarantopoulos, and he's been fucking amazing. And so I recommend to everybody to get a second opinion and to stay away from Texas Oncology, because they are fucking in it for the money. And I wasn't put into immunotherapy until I kind of asked for it, because I had the tumor during your album recording, the tumor in my kidney and the small tumors in my lungs. And so I was eligible for it, and it just, the cancer was too aggressive, and they had to, remove my kidney and stop the immunotherapy. And that just, you get tired, and you lose your appetite, you lose a bunch of weight, you lose, muscle mass, you get really depressed. And, it makes you not want to do anything, on top of the fact that you're scared to go out, at least if you have the type of kidney cancer that I have, because you're constantly pissing blood clots, because the tumor is bleeding in your kidney and it goes down your bladder, and you're going to the emergency room getting these clots sucked out with a catheter. It's fucking awful, man.
When you described the blood clots to me before, that just hearing like what you were going through made me physically uncomfortable. To hear it,
it hurts.
I bet.
Yeah.
And it's really gross the way you described it, because you're very descriptive.
It's disgusting.
Like
it's.
Did you say it was like cranberry, like canned cranberry sauce coming out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the texture of it, and I compare it to when you're drinking a Sonic slush, a strawberry Sonic slush, and you get a strawberry stuck in the straw. Just imagine pissing, and then you got to stop, and you got to figure out a way to get that strawberry out. And so, yeah, there was times where I'd actually go into my dick hole and pull out the clot, and it would be like this long, like a strand, and then I would pull it out, and all this bloody piss would come out. Yeah,
those
sexy. Are awful days. And so when they decided to remove my kidney for better quality of life and put me on dialysis, it has severely improved my quality of life, even though I'm on dialysis.
Really?
Oh yeah, because I don't piss anymore at all.
You don't pee at all?
No. And I only drink about 30 ounces of fluid a day. And that includes like coffee in the morning and water with my medicine, soups, fruits. I got to count on all that shit. And even though I'm on a really restricted diet,
do you poop?
Yeah, I poop.
Okay.
I have to, have like stool softeners and Miralax and stuff like that. But yeah, I poop.
Okay.
But
not pee.
I don't pee, and I don't have to worry about piss and clots.
Okay. So like your dick is for nothing now.
My dick is for nothing. Yeah, because my libido's gone too.
So you can just hang ornaments on that shit right now. That's a Christmas tree.
You can't hang ornaments on a dead tree. I mean, my shit looks like, man, I bet you that Christmas tree looked really great in the mall or wherever it was in. Like, I'm a mall tree. I mean, you're a fucking outside tree.
Yeah.
I'm still an inside tree. I'm
a big red fern.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the trunk. You're one of those, like, you cannot fit that. You're an industrial Christmas tree. You are a motherfucking, like, you're a tree that like Bass Pro Shop would get.
Oh, like grizzly bears. I'm one of the trees grizzly bears can actually climb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're like an outside. You're a tree that still has roots.
Got you. And like we couldn't even put an elf on the shelf on your Christmas tree. The whole thing fall over.
Not right now. Not right now. It's just it's a dead tree on the side of the road that you're like, man, that made a family.
Jesus. And it's gonna fall any day now. And my insurance isn't gonna cover this.
It's fallen. It's fallen. But it was majestic. You can tell it used to be majestic.
You're so stupid. How was Upstage? So I did Upstage a couple weeks ago. Bobby was on.
That's a funny. Your dick's broken. How was Upstage?
You know what? Because I'm random. How was Upstage?
It was good. It was good. We had a good crowd. The news came out. So if people want to look me up on News 4 SA, they can see a really cool news package that Robert Price did on me for the 10 o'clock news, and it was fun. I dug it. I was nervous because I hadn't headlined in 2.5 years. It was February of 2019 was the last time I had
with me
headlined
in Kerrville.
No, it was with Chris Breckel in some bar that Mario Salazar booked.
I thought I was the last.
I'm sorry. The last goes to Freddie Trevino, Chris Breckel, and Mario Salazar. But I headlined that was the night that I got. I wouldn't call it heckled, but that white guy screamed at me and told me he was tired of white people getting made fun of.
Really?
That was yeah. And I let him have it. But yeah, at Upstage, I was really nervous because I didn't know what I was going to say. And when I looked out into the crowd, just like Big Mama God, it was full of friends. It was full of, people that I knew. And that's hard to like, when you don't have like an ego and you don't use the word like fans, and you actually communicate with people and don't shut them off or whatever, you tend to just know a lot of people. And so you can call them fans because you met them through comedy, but because their lives and their families and stuff like that, it's hard to count it. But at the same time, they're paying admission to come see it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a room full of people that I know personally. It's a room full of people that have seen my specials, and I didn't know what material I was going to do, and I hadn't really worked on anything, and I had only did one open mic at the Laugh Out Loud just to make sure my body could handle it,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about to go up, and Patrick Huerta, oh man, God bless him. I guess he just felt something. He's like, "Hey, do you want me to put a chair on stage for you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that would be great." So I was given great advice by J.Y. Cotton, because he had told me, he's like, your body isn't what it used to be. And just when you go on stage, think of Richard Pryor after the fire.
Mm.
And I'm like, all right, okay. And my instinct wanted to, because you've seen me climb on speakers and scream and like go ape shit, and I can't do that anymore. I'd hurt myself. So I went up with a notepad with some ideas bullet pointed, and I just started talking, and I forced myself to sit down, and I just ad-libbed an entire hour, and it went really well. I mean, it's not structured great, there's good callbacks, but there's a lot of ums and likes, and uh and I end with my bit on regulators. That was the only written bit, but I was like, I'll do the regulators because that's not on anything. It's not on any album or any performance, and it kills. I think I was really happy because I was recording on my iPhone, and the regulators bit hadn't killed that hard, I think, ever. So I closed on it, and I was listening to my recording on my iPhone, and I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to be able to replicate this again. It was all ad-libbed except for the end. I don't think I'm ever going to get as good as a reaction. It's not bad. It's got a cool like bootleg quality, and I'll just put it up. So I put it up on my YouTube channel, and I call it Bloody Teeth. And I call it Bloody Teeth because I was on blood thinners that were causing my gums to bleed. And when I was doing the interview, I was really self-conscious about like smiling because my teeth were bloody.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of talking like that, or at least trying to. And when I go on stage, I have this big giant clot of blood like on my four teeth. And if you look closely, you can see it. And so I decided just to put it out as an album, and it's called Bloody Teeth, available Larry Garza comedy on YouTube. It's pretty funny. It's good. It's an hour long.
That's a trip. I didn't realize you were dealing with like blood coming out your mouth. That's got to be distracting on stage.
Say it again?
That's got to be distracting on stage.
Oh, no, you couldn't really see it. I would have to do that.
No. For you performing.
Oh, I had gotten used to it because I had been talking a lot for that weekend. And I was in the emergency room 2 nights before, or the day before. I almost had to cancel the gig. I was coughing up blood and stuff. And it was all because of the blood thinners. And I had tumors in my lungs that were hemorrhaging. So I still have the ID bracelet from the hospital. And I went and I still did the show, and you see pictures afterwards. I looked exhausted. You did look tired. I looked pretty bad. I didn't feel bad, but I guess it was the adrenaline.
Yeah, I think I texted you and asked if you were okay.
Yeah.
I said you look tired.
Yeah, people were posting pictures, and I was all, like, my eyes were like barely open and stuff. But shit, I still went to Denny's.
You got to. You got to.
I was people were tired, and I'm like, let's go. Like, if we're gonna do a stand-up show, let's get the whole experience here.
Right. Back to, like I said, this is going all over the place. I'm just asking you stuff as I'm thinking, because we're just talking.
It's a gray area, baby.
Yeah. Were there any things that you found out were probably beneficial to help out with your cancer that like you got conflicting information? Because I know you had to do a lot of your own research. Is there like
talk about weed
and other things? Because you got a lot of advice from people on stuff to use. And you ended up researching a bunch of bullshit. What did you find that helped, that maybe surprised people, or what didn't help? What did you find out was like more detrimental?
So what's total bullshit is the whole CBD thing.
Is it?
Oh, absolutely. It's snake oil, man. And I will challenge anybody to that, because I am a stage 4 cancer fighter that has all of the side effects now from chemo medications. I had seizures, And we actually got the CBD oil from Colorado. That was a strain called Charlotte's Web that they were giving to children that were having seizures. And the shitty thing about that is that they would say, and because of this Charlotte's Web, you see that seizures would go away after 30 to 45 seconds. Seizures don't last that long. That's usually how long seizures last. But again, I didn't know at the time. So I'm taking this CBD oil with a tincture under my tongue, right? And the thing about it is that you get all the negatives, because I have a very low tolerance for weed, you know that, recreationally. And you get all of the negative effects of weed and none of the positives, meaning that you get paranoid, you get dizzy, you get a sinking feeling if you're a person like me that has a low tolerance, but you're not high. So it's just an ugly feeling.
It's like the opposite of Blade.
Yeah, exactly. Like being a day walker, but you have to be in a coffin all the time.
Right.
And so I did that for a long time, about 4 or 5 years ago, and it did not work. Then when I started having because that didn't work, I kind of said fuck it and tried to go just full on weed, and it was fun. It was just it was fun to get high. When I would get high and not freak out, which, I had friends that were getting stuff straight from Colorado and, from dispensaries, as opposed to shit getting like made in a, and fucking garage.
Like edibles, because you can't smoke with this
Well,
stuff.
I had at the time, I freaked out pretty bad on edibles, except for some cookies made with Blue Dream. That was nice, but I don't like edibles because for most people it takes, 30 minutes to kick in. For me, it takes hours to kick in.
Really?
Yeah. And it would usually, I would take the edible, God knows, like even like 6 in the evening, wouldn't kick in. I'd go to sleep, and then I'd wake up at 2 a.m, high as fucking as ever, and I'd be high for like 12 hours. Like seriously. So that didn't help me either, because it was scary. Again, except for the Blue Dream cookies that I had. So then that made me focus highly on strains, and then I started vaping. The vaping helped me kind of control the intake, but I only did it recreationally. I didn't do it to cure any side effects or anything. It didn't help with anything.
Really?
So then nothing. It didn't help with anything except for like getting high. I mean, I call bullshit on anybody that says it does anything otherwise. And so then finally, fast forward to when I did have chemo, because I had stopped for smoking weed for a little while because of the lung tumors and stuff. And then I started the immunotherapy I was telling you about, and I lost my appetite. And I was like, okay, this is what weed's for. Because I even talked to my doctors about it, and there's not enough. What's it called? Evidence to show exactly what weed's good for outside of appetite suppression and some chronic pain. So then that's what I dealt with the immunotherapy, was appetite suppression and chronic pain. So then I had a friend bought me a bunch of just flour. I finally gave up on it because I heard vape was causing your lungs to whatever. And it's hard to get the cartridges. Mm-hmm. And so I just got, a good strain, and I got flour and smoked, and I was in chronic pain high.
Okay.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been in pain high, but yeah.
You feel it even more.
Exactly. Like you're relaxed, but then you're like, my leg, and then your body's so relaxed that you don't like get up to do anything about it.
No, and you're also like analyzing the pain because you're high, and you're like,
you're hyper-focused.
Where is this originating from? Is it this, or could it be that? Could it now? Yeah.
And you start to like, yeah. And that's all the weed did. And so outside of just relaxing and being high, it didn't do anything for me medically. And so I'm a big anti-advocate of marijuana helping cancer patients. It's complete bullshit. If you enjoy getting high, just say that. Just say that. And if you're a cancer patient that just likes to, escape for a little bit and enjoy the euphoria that the weed gives you, say that. But don't lie and say that it helps cure your pain, because that's total bullshit, because I've been in pain high.
So is there anything that you found that helped that you didn't expect to? Was there any treatment they gave you that was more beneficial than you thought it was going to be?
No, I mean, honestly, they've just been chopping away at me with the tumors. And no, man, I wish I could say, but I can't. I can honestly say that getting a second opinion is probably the most important thing, because you go into a doctor, listen to what they say, and expect that they're out for your best interest. So the most surprising thing for me, and this was about 5 years ago when I experienced it, is getting a second opinion on whatever diagnosis that you get, and advocating for yourself. I also was surprised at how okay I was at being by myself in the hospital, because I was hospitalized during COVID. So I couldn't have visitors. So I experienced both having too many people in my, room to where you're not actually resting, versus being alone for like weeks and not eating. And that, what I'll say that is, I'm on a restricted diet now, and outside one thing I realized is I feel a lot better not eating processed foods, not eating prepackaged stuff, frozen stuff, not eating not drinking sodas. I know it sounds like kind of cliche, but that really did a big 180 on me, taking away all of that. But also on the flip, I want people to enjoy life and not worry about what they're eating so much, because if there's ever comes a time where it gets restricted, you're going to miss, oh man, I could have been eating avocados. Like I can't have avocados and potatoes and stuff like that. And
no potatoes?
No. Yeah. It's too much potassium. I don't have the kidneys to process it. So I would recommend that people enjoy the food that they enjoy, and not punish themselves because they think it's like healthier options. You'd be surprised what's actually not healthy for you, that I've learned. And it all depends on why. Like healthy is a subjective term. Mm-hmm. Like if you're a healthy person with healthy organs, then wheat and grains are fine. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I don't have the kidneys to process them, so they would hurt me. So I have to have things that are I have to eat white bread and, plain
white bread
stuff. Yeah. White bread.
White bread.
Mm-hmm.
Come in here with some white bread.
What we fucking Wonder Bread ass motherfucker. Yeah. So you just got to enjoy what you can and not worry so much until you have to. And then you can look back and be like, hell yeah, I've had fucking porterhouse steak and, all the shit that you want to try
fucking
it, man.
Red Lobster like a motherfucker.
Yeah. Eat salmon, man.
No, I'm not going to eat salmon.
Eat salmon, fool.
Like
a bear, like a grizzly bear.
The closest I got was you. You got the closest to getting me to consume it.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. But salmon's good.
Whatever. So through this whole experience that you've gone through over the past 6 or so years, you've also met a great community of people that you probably otherwise wouldn't have been subjected to. Can you talk a little bit about the community? Because it looks like it's a very positive community within the cancer community of people that are of survivors and people that are still fighting. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Kinda. To be quite honest with you, man, it's really competitive. A lot of people I've noticed have thrown ribbons. Like the cancer community, cancer hits everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's in the cancer community. Everybody is. And if someone gets a polyp and gets the polyp removed, they're fine, right? They'll fucking put pink ribbons all over their car and be, I'm a cancer fighter. I'm a cancer warrior. Hey, my cancer brother. Like, it's gross. I've seen it on Facebook groups where someone will have, kidney cancer, have like a partial kidney removal, which is a big deal for that person. That's so somebody else's 10 may not be your 10, but it's still their 10. But at the same time, I can't help but kind of, I don't know, roll my eyes when they get orange ribbon tattoos, and and it's just like you got a tumor removed and you're good and you're gonna be fine, and they get this big old fucking thing on their wrist and just like fighter butterflies, all that sort of shit. And people just running around, I had cancer and da-da-da. And I was that person when I first got it. And I thought I was like, okay. And I was smooth sailing. And then it went to my brain. And I was like, oh shit, this is real. And then I took it for granted in 2018. I thought I was past it. And I was actually trying to not go under the, comedian with cancer subtitle. I was trying to kind of break that. And then it just was like, no, motherfucker. And cancer doesn't care if you have a ribbon on. Cancer doesn't care if you are putting stickers on your truck. It'll fuck you up if it wants to. So unfortunately, there isn't, in my opinion, a community unless you want to be that sort of mum wearing person. And I'm not. I will say that I do love and appreciate the people that are suffering from it. And I get a lot of messages from people who, tell me from their shows, oh, I just got diagnosed and I was really scared. And then I saw your stand up and I'm not too worried. And I know it's going to suck, but at least I know that I can pull through it. And that's the message that I try to send out, is that it's like, everyone has bumps in the road, and this is just going to be a major bump in the road for you, but you're going to get through it. There's total advances in medicine, and I'm sure they could cure it if they wanted to, but they want to keep you alive so you can, trust me, that the doctors don't want to kill you. They want to keep you alive so you could buy more medicine and get more surgeries and stuff. That's why I recommend for people to go to like learning hospitals, like universities and stuff like that, because if they have a professor doing a surgery, they're going to be teaching very intricately how to do the surgery correctly. And you're not going to have to worry about someone trying to like get you out like a
assembly line worker. Or something.
The assembly line. There you go. And but I don't have any like cancer friends, or I don't have any like buddies that I've made because of having cancer. I will say that it has really helped my comedy career, and I am not ashamed to pull the cancer card, because it's not like I don't have it.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck it, I'll use it. And if it gets me a cut in line, if I got to take every advantage you can. I wish there was a community, but it's not me, man. There is one. I'm just not, I'm not that. I plan on one day allow me to have tattoos, to get maybe an orange ribbon, but that's just so if an ambulance finds me, they can see that I have kidney cancer. You know what I'm saying?
Just get your tags, all of your shit tattooed on you.
I'm telling you, seriously, like that's really the main reason why I'd want to do it.
So the roast is December 29th.
Mhm.
What brought the roast about?
So I was hospitalized this past August, and things weren't looking good. I was on a feeding tube, and this was after my kidney surgery, where they removed my last kidney in July. And I had complications from the surgery, where I had a blockage in my intestine, and I I wasn't keeping things down. So they had a feeding tube. One tube was putting food in, and the other one was sucking up. So I had two tubes doing two different things. And based on numbers in labs, like my numbers look terrible. Like on paper, I look like I should be like, on a hospital bed. So I was assigned what's called a palliative care team. Now, people get really scared, like if you're to Google palliative care, because one of the things that they offer is hospice care. So palliative care is kind of the transitional team from, the doctors that are trying to save your life versus the doctors that are trying to make it comfortable for you to die. And so the palliative care team, that's what they do. So now it wasn't like they were telling me I was going to die, but they were just basically telling me, pretty much like you're leaning more towards you're going to die versus you're going to be okay. And it's probably smart for you to make plans. And I'm like, yikes. Okay. All right. Fuck it. That's fine. And so I called a funeral home and made plans. I did power of attorney, and they talked to me and they gave me the perspective that, a lot of people don't have this opportunity. People just drop dead, and the family has a lot of burden on trying to find, well, I don't know what they would have wanted and all that sort of shit. And then, Uncle Rufus ends up getting put in a tan suit, and everyone's like, Uncle Rufus would never wear a tan suit, like that sort of shit. And so I called a funeral home and just kind of made things official of like what I wanted. And you would be surprised how flexible, because you're paying for it, that a funeral home would be. Like, I'm like, can we have whoopee cushions under the kneelers? And they're like, yeah, sure. And we'll find a guy to, so you're paying for it, and you're like, okay,
can I have
cool.
recessed lighting in the casket and
all shit like that? Yeah. And I even asked to find a black casket, which is surprisingly not available, but they found a pretty dark wood. If you're getting cremated, no black caskets. But it was fun planning that. And then I started planning my memorial. And we were talking about Tommy Munoz earlier, and he passed away out of nowhere. And so we had his memorial on a Comedia Go-Go night on a Wednesday at the Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club, just like what's happening now. We had his urn up there, and during the day, there was a lunch in his honor, and by like 8:00 was his memorial, and there was his urn, and I hosted it, and comics would come up to talk about him, and it wasn't so much intended, but it turned into a roast. Because that's just how comics mourn. And it was about 20 people. It was just like open to whoever wanted to go up and speak. And it was beautiful. It was nice. And I remember thinking to myself, I'd like that. And I want that. And but I want my friends to know that they could be mean, because a lot of people were worried about the family and worried about offending Tommy's family, which I was too. But they were like, Tommy would have wanted you to go all in and, go for it. And it was a lovely family. And so my family's not like that. My family would get offended. My family would want to.
Your wife would fight. Yeah. Real fast.
Yeah. My wife would fight. My sister Rachel would fight. My sister-in-law Jeanette would fight. So I was like, I want a roast. And I was getting with Jess, and I was getting with Regan and Jay Wycott, and just saying, this is what I want. And I even asked you to be a pallbearer. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. Very, very much so.
Yeah.
Remember that.
And so I said, get with the LOL. I wanted to be like Tommy's. I want my urn there. And, I wanted to be like a Dean Martin roast. And I wanted to be real like, blah, 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 like old school. And I was planning it. And then I ended up getting out of the hospital. I ended up, coming home. I ended up getting better. I ended up, gaining weight and, being a little bit more active. And what would get my mind off of things and what would excite me was planning this memorial. And I would talk to Andy about it all the time. It's like, oh, and we should get this. And oh, I should message this. And oh, I need to, whatever. It sounded like Eddie Murphy doing his impression of like Bill Cosby doing an impression of his son Ennis doing an impression of him going, and then suck with this and do this and do that. You remember on?
Yes. Yeah. Do this, that, and suck this and put it in your mouth.
Suck this and get out and suck this and kiss my this. And so I kept doing that. And Andy said, you don't have to be dead to do this, right? And I'm talking to Tori Poole, and I told her basically what Andy said. And she texts Kevin, the manager of the LOL, and she's like, in the middle of our conversation, oh, hey, I'm texting Kevin, what night do you want? And I'm like, what? And so she was like, why wait? And that's the thing that I've noticed about my female friends, especially if they're moms, they're just like, cut the bullshit and just let's get it done.
Yeah.
And so Tori got that with Kevin, and Kevin's an amazing manager at the Improv LOL. Had me pick a night, and I picked, a night that I would assume people would be on Christmas vacation and, not have anything to do. And we sold that fucker out.
There you go. Congratulations on the sellout.
Thank you. And I'm really upset that you're not there. Everyone besides you that I asked said yes. So there's too many people.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could be the exception to the rule. Somebody had to turn you. I got to reject you. See, you're that hot bitch. They get everything you want your whole fucking life. Somebody's got to be that red oak tree and say,
yeah,
nah,
I'm telling you,
nah,
that daddy tree,
that daddy dick. Nah, you keep your motherfucking roast.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I eat fried food. I don't roast shit. Side note, what are you looking forward to next year? Or
next year.
Because we're
being around.
Well, that's a given. You're gonna be here.
Okay.
At least till June. You're gonna be here till your birthday. I'll say till your birthday. After your birthday, I see you being like, fuck it. Like the rest of the year is a wash anyways. But you gotta have one more fucking birthday party in the backyard with some fucking movies and shit. Like for instance, the new Spider-Man coming out just came out. And I'm looking forward to seeing that, hopefully over the Christmas break. What shit in 2022 do you have a New Year's resolution?
No. I honestly, man, I am, with the exception of the roast, trying to live a day at a time and, soaking in every moment that I'm experiencing. Like right now, right now is like a beautiful moment. It's fun. And it's going to be immortalized. I can revisit it. It's being recorded, so that's awesome. I'm with one of my best friends, talking shit, reminiscing about all the great moments that we had in our friendship, doing comedy, and it just makes me laugh that the moments that we cherish aren't even on stage. Some of them are.
A lot of good times at Sam's Burger Joint.
Yeah. And at Sam's, but a lot of them were on stage, but it was all to make each other laugh. But when we traveled to do stand-up, it was all about getting there and coming back and what we did to pass time versus doing during the shows, because we're all in our head before we get on stage. And when we get on stage, we're doing our act with few exceptions. But, if you're talking about like an event or like something in pop culture, I will say that I was, before the pandemic, deciding to go to concerts again. And I had bought tickets to a few shows that unfortunately had to cancel because of the pandemic. One of the shows that didn't cancel was the Deftones concert. They were supposed to come in 2019 in September, and that show got rescheduled, and now it's set for May of 2022. And I have GA tickets, general admission tickets, which like people are selling them for like big bucks because they sold out back in 2019, and now the Deftones announced that they were going to honor those tickets.
Nice.
And I'm sitting there with tickets that are 2 years old, going on 3 years old, and they're the not front row, but I could pretty much get front row if I tried. Mm-hmm. But with my fucking cancer-ridden ass, I
you probably sit in the back.
Yeah. So that's something that I'm looking forward to in 2022 is going to see the Deftones live. And I'm nervous about the amount of people. I'm nervous about being shoulder to shoulder with somebody, but it's going to be awesome to see one of my favorite bands in person.
Can you tell your son I said thank you for introducing my kids to some other video game shit that now I have to answer for? Introducing him to that Nintendo Switch, and there's been a lot of questions. Like now they've been putting the pressure on me to play some video games since your son really leaned into that shit with them. Like they were dead. We were dead to them at the table. Like my kids didn't give a fuck about us because it was like, what is this game and how do I play it more?
Yeah, no, Gunner is a legitimate gamer. And I can honestly say that without, cringing. Like he's all into the YouTubers and Twitch channels. He follows people, watches people play games. He beats games at 100%, gets trophies, and all the stuff that like a real gamer would care about. He cares about, and he's 11. And so the Switch, I honestly feel for a parent that's a gamer like you, it's definitely worth the money simply because not only is it portable, but it's very easily attachable to like a big screen. You can attach it to your, television just by simply, popping it in. You can make it 2 players, you take the controllers off the sides and, give one to Kennedy and one to Zoe. And
don't give me the sell pitch. Don't try to sell me on this shit. I'm
sorry, man. I'm sorry that I think the Switch Lite's kind of bullshit.
I'm trying to convince them that shit was a figment of their imagination and it doesn't exist. Here you are selling it.
But how could you say that as a gamer? You're a gamer yourself.
Oh, it's because I'm a dad and I don't want to do shit. Like that's what that is.
If you're a dad and you don't want to do shit, then you need to fucking throw the money down on this Switch, because I'll tell you what. If you give it to them, you don't have to do shit because they're going to be occupied with the Switch.
Cool. I'll tell them Uncle Larry's got one in the mail for him.
Oh, don't tell me that because I'll fucking do it.
Don't do that shit. Don't do that. Don't do that shit.
For a second, Uncle Larry will buy them a Switch because I'm getting fucking fundraiser money coming up. I'll fucking throw in a Switch for my niece and nephew.
We're not doing that shit. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right. We got to get out of here. Larry, I love you to death.
Love you.
I'll tell you this. One of the things that has been a bright spot for me over the past 18 months is like we've talked a hell of a lot more over the last 18 months. And while you were going through all your shit and you would tell me, please continue to send me random messages, because I would just randomly send you stupid stuff that was going through my head. And when you said, no, please keep sending it to me, like it for me, I knew you were okay because like I would send you something and you may not get to it right away, but then you'd respond to whatever dumb shit I said. And that was my way of knowing that, okay, Larry's okay. I don't have to worry. Cause like Ashley would be like, so how's Larry doing? I'm like, oh, he's all right. And she's like, oh, did you talk to him? What did you guys talk about? I was like, I sent him something dumb and he said something dumb back. So he's good. Like that was
booger titties.
Yes, booger titties and everything else.
Grizzly farts.
Yeah. Fuck short people. I was sending you a lot of random just thoughts that I had throughout the day, and that made it easier. That made it.
Well, that helped me too. Probably more than it helped you, I'd say, because
probably
it made me. I didn't have to repeat. I didn't copy and paste from another text about how I was doing. It was something unique, and it didn't make me feel sick. It made me feel like I was okay.
And to be honest with you, I didn't want you to copy and paste. And if anything, it's like I just wanted to talk to Larry the way I talked to Larry. And anytime, it's like I told my wife, if there was something wrong, he would say it.
Yeah.
But if he's responding back with that shit's funny or whatever, or we just end up going on a rant back and forth via text on going down a rabbit hole on some bullshit, yeah, you're fine. But it definitely, like, because I told you this last time when you went back last year, it hit harder for me. It resonated a little bit more. When you got sick the first time, I wasn't a dad and I hadn't lost people to cancer. And I was still young, dumb, and full of cum. What song?
How sweet.
What song? Do you know?
Sweet. Is that a song?
That's from a song. That is from a song.
That's a saying. I know the saying. What song?
Purple Pills. D12.
Could have fooled me.
I did fool you.
You did.
I did. But that definitely made me feel better, and it helped me out knowing that I could just send you stupid text and just have that we could still have silly conversations and that you weren't that bad. So as much as it helped you, just know that it also helped me out a lot too.
Well, thank you, Aaron. And I love you, and I love the kids that you've created during this. And you need to buy them a Nintendo Switch.
Don't do this shit.
And people listening to the gray area, please message Aaron as much as you can. Comment on his post to buy his kids a Nintendo Switch.
You know what's going to happen? Now I'm going to go hard the other way, and they're never going to get shit. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Well, that's your audience isn't going to let that happen. For Alonzo and Kennedy to get them a Nintendo Switch, just make sure that anytime Aaron posts anything about anything that you see, follow him at, what is it? The Aaron Cheatham?
_ Aaron Cheatham.
Yeah. Follow at _ Aaron Cheatham on Instagram. And anytime he makes a post or a story, say, so
where that Switch at though?
What's up with that Switch?
G, is the Switch legit like that? Do you fuck with the Switch? Oh, I'm getting 2 thumbs up from G back there.
Yeah, no, the Switch, and you're talking to an ex GameStop employee that hates video games and hates what video games have become. And the Switch has reversed that for me.
I hear your sales pitch. And
it's a lot of fun. And I don't, oh dude, Nintendo's they're worse than Sony when it comes to proprietary shit, but they made a system for families. That's straight up
more than the
and
Wii?
Gamers. Way more than the Wii. They took the benefit of the Wii and the benefit of like the old school Nintendo, the NES, and combined them into like HD. It's like an N64, a Wii, and an NES put together. And then when you join the fucking, you pay $4 a month for the Nintendo Club, you have all access to every Super Nintendo game, pretty much. Yeah, every Nintendo game.
This is a great sales pitch. I'm still giving it a meh. I'm gonna fight this as long as I can.
You would play it probably more than the kids.
Doubtful. Zoe goes hard. Like, he's been nagging me about games.
Yeah.
Like, legit. For like I finally just let him start playing the Xbox. Like, fuck it. He stopped playing his Genesis.
The original Xbox?
No, not the original Xbox.
Or the Xbox One.
The Xbox One.
Because you were playing the original Xbox when the Xbox whatever came out.
Don't let these niggas know about my shit. How I be holding. The fuck are you doing?
if there's anyone that should have a Twitch channel, it's you.
We're working on that.
I would watch your Twitch stream. I would watch you and Jess's Twitch.
I was doing like old school games on Xbox for a while, but I didn't have a camera, and it was like, well, there's no sense in doing this. That's my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna get some cameras, and we're gonna make some more shit happen.
Well, see what the gray area producers are willing to help you with.
These niggas don't give a fuck about me. Think they give a fuck about me? No. It's a blessing that I get to sit at this goddamn table right now. They give me scraps.
Well, it was a blessing being your guest, man. So thank you very much for having me.
No, anytime, legit. Where can people follow you and get information? And give them those Venmo and Cash App again if they want to help out.
Thank you. So if you want to help out, my Venmo is at Larry Garza. I was lucky enough to get that. You can Cash App me $, Larry Garza Comedy. You could, what's it called? Google Pay at Larry Garza Comedy or Larry Garza Comedy at gmail.com. You can hit me up in the DMs at Instagram for my Zelle or Apple Pay at Larry Garza Comedy, Larry Garza Comic on Twitter, or just look up Larry Garza on Facebook. I'm the one with this face.
And if you want to send me money to get my kids a Switch,
yeah, do that.
If you guys want to be a part of that movement,
take 20% of whatever you're willing to give me and give it to Aaron's Switch Fund.
Aaron's Switch Fund. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like I'm gonna go out to a tree and break off a branch.
Yeah, but you know what? If you donate to Aaron's Switch Fund, he'll break off a branch from his tree. If you know what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? You get broke off a little piece of this sweet potato pie.
What I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Make sure you hit every branch on the way down. You hit every branch.
Did you just quote Domino?
Yes.
Wow, we didn't even touch on our knowledge of 90s hip hop.
I know. You know what? You're gonna have to come back so we can do that because I think we got all the serious stuff out now. So next time we're just gonna basically do what we do in the car. I'm that guy and she's so fly. I gotta get a piece of that sweet potato pie.
No, it was slower than that. It's Domino. Domino.
Here we go. Here we go. And a bang bang. 1, 2, 3, and this is OG.
Give it up and out. Wing wing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That jam is about
to slam
some notes, some diggity
ding ding.
Yeah.
That's the shit. That is the shit. Larry, I love you.
I love you too.
I love you to death, brother. Stay safe. I'll see you when I get back in town.
You know what season it is? I know we're trying to cut off.
Cuffing season?
It's Mariah Carey carpool karaoke season is what it is.
It is. This is, what? That's the thing, because usually in December, we would be trying to scoop up shows and stuff, and there'd be a lot of Mariah Carey in the car.
For Christmas money, and we'd be driving, and you recorded us doing a sing along to Fantasy.
Fantasy. There's one to me singing Chicago.
Yeah, but the one that always gets shared is
the Mariah Carey,
because we ended up doing that choreography that we didn't even plan for. We just
I'm hearing it though in my head. You know what? Hey, G, I'm gonna send you that video.
When you walk by every night, talking sweet and looking fine.
Yeah, it was way before carpool karaoke. So
we were the originators.
The OGs.
That fat Brit stole that shit from us.
Exactly.
He owes me royalties, motherfucker.
Bangers and mash ass eating bitch.
Bangers and mashed potato eating ass Brit motherfucker. Fucking Muppet. He's a fucking Muppet.
Fucking limey bitch.
Limey ass bitch. Larry, take care of yourself, brother. I'll see you soon. Right. I love you to death. Make sure you guys follow Larry at all those places. And best of luck on the roast. Hopefully Andy doesn't have to put her hair up and square up.
Oh, fuck. Well, we'll see. Sold out.
It's gonna be a blast. I can't wait to see the pictures and the videos and all that. And
we're streaming it, so make sure you follow Comedia Go-Go's YouTube channel. You know what?
I might just be watching it live from the airport.
Okay.
And
fuck it.
Yeah. Actually, I'll be on the plane. I won't be watching it live because I really don't care. Anyways, Larry, it's good to see you.
All right, Aaron. I love you, man.
I love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all of our other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home online at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.